Fox game because, you know, why wouldn't you? Fox are just the very best team around right now. But enough of that, enough of my blathering about Fox. It is time for Hacklebeast to introduce this next set of fantastic players in the first match of LRM versus Sir.
In the top right position, excuse me, in the top right position as the green Zerg is Sir Sheepdog. And in the bottom left position as the yellow Zerg, we have... LRM bakuryu. So much for having only one ZVZ in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's all.
We're back
that's all turned on its head now.
We're back in the groove. Back to what we're used to.
Yeah.
We're all about the ZVZ matchup here in Foreign Brood War land.
Oh, we can do that. It means I get my supper a little bit earlier, which is okay. And also it can be exciting, as we saw from last time. Also, guys, I'm seeing a little bit of blasphemy in the stream chat. I see whisperings that people think that Fox might not do well when the all-kill format changes. I can assure you, Fox have got the depth and the strength to take down so many games that you won't believe your eyes. Even after the all-kill format has changed, you will see the full might of Fox. We haven't even started yet. You've seen like a little tip of the iceberg, little bit thing. But any more dissing Fox in the chat, and there will be serious repercussions. I've said my part.
Alright. If you are just looking through results of the Fox game, please don't spoil it for other people who want to watch it. Since it wasn't part of the cast today, that's kind of not fair to them. But
we did spoil it a bit earlier. We did spoil it slightly earlier.
We acknowledged Bibian exists. Like, that's okay. I think that's fair spoiling. We don't want to say the score of it, though. Alright.
Yes, indeed. We have Zerg v Zerg happening on our screens right now.
Yep. Bakuryu's first ling's already out. Sheepdog's lings will certainly be there in time to defend. And Bakuryu gonna go cross first? Very nice. Bakuryu will be going cross first, sending one ling top left just in case. And if you are wondering why Bakuryu went cross first, I do believe I know the answer. If he has this Overlord to scout, that Sheepdog is definitely not bottom right. And if Sheepdog had been top left, Bakuryu would be able to see the Overlord with his Overlord. So since he did not see an Overlord and did not find the base bottom right, it is most likely that Sheepdog is cross and is worth immediately sending your lings in that direction. He doesn't know for sure, and that's why he sent one ling over top left, but that's the general thought process.
Oh, and we have a little bit of a micro battle happening. Sheepdog trying to bust his way in. Looks like he might be successful. Bakuryu in a little bit of trouble. Oh my god, you've got me saying Bakuryu now. I never say that. I say Bakuryu, which everyone finds incredibly funny.
Apparently I got you saying Sheepdog, because Bakuryu's the one with lings in the base.
Oh my god, okay, so, yeah, wow, okay, so Bakuryu looking good, Sheepdog looking in a little bit of trouble, which kind of makes a lot more sense in my mind right now.
Yeah.
So Bakuryu's got a little bit of, don't say anything, a little bit of the pressure on his side, hopping around in Sheepdog's main, Sheepdog having to stack up his drones a little bit to try and take care of this. Will he lose another drone? No, he won't, losing only one in that engagement. So, Sheepdog actually not looking too bad right here, and Bakuryu having to sunken up back at home. He's going to just make one sunken colony in a nicely well-defended position, make up a few more links, and from there I think he'll be very, very adequately prepared to defend until Mutalisks are ready to go.
Yep. Bakuryu does have a sunken colony on the way, so he can deal with a little bit of a Zergling deficit here, as his Spire should be faster than Sheepdog. Oh yes, obviously it's faster than Sheepdog. Sheepdog still working on his lair. And this might be a fast enough Spire that Sheepdog would consider spore colonies. I don't think he can actually get the first Scourge out in time to immediately deal with the Mutalisks. So he has two choices. He can either burn a lot of money getting the spore colonies now, or he can accept that a few drones will go down. I think it's more likely he'll go with the latter. No, the evolution chamber's going down. He's going to go immediately for the spore colonies. Alright.
So we could be in for the long haul here. Sheepdog really looking like he's going to start digging in, and it's often interesting to see when this happens, because it's kind of curious to see just that way of playing ZVZ, which we so rarely actually have happen. We have a little bit of an attack coming in right now from Sheepdog. He's going to have a crack at some of bakuryu's drones. He might not be able to get any. Bakuryu's defending this quite well. Will he be able to drill well enough? I wouldn't have thought that Sun Colony was in any danger. Right now, Sheepdog just needs to try and get some drone kills, but going straight for the Sun Colony, probably a little bit of a misstep for him right now, especially with no reinforcing links coming in to capitalize on this. I'm not quite sure why he did that. And the engagement goes by without him catching any drones, and he will lose the Overlord in Bakuryu's main as well. So that actually worked out fairly well for Bakuryu overall, and just kind of equalised the link count quite nicely.
While that was going on, Bakuryu managed to get some lings into Sheepdog's base. Just a couple. I think he managed to get one drone, but he also got the scout off to see that there's a lair in an Evo chamber and no spire even started. So he knows what he's going up against. With two spore colonies, he's going to be able to guard all the buildings in the main. So it's not as if Bakuryu can snipe... Oh, almost losing the Overlord. It's not as if he can snipe the gas. But he might be able to still do a little bit of muter harass on the drones, especially drones in the natural.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little bit of a gap in the defenses of Sheepdog right there. I mean, those mutas can micro all day long over the northern side of the natural expansion, so that's a little bit of an oversight. I think he's definitely going to have to get another spore colony in, but that's going to be microed down quite easily as well by Bakuryu, I think. I don't really know what Sheepdog can do about that. I think this is quite an oversight.
Yeah, really the only option at that point is to build two simultaneously. The Mutalisks can't quite kill them off fast enough, but if you do it like this, then yeah, it's totally possible for Bakuryu to be killing them off one at a time, and Sheepdog's wasting a lot of money doing so. 50 plus 75 plus 50.
A hell of a lot of money. I mean, this is a serious problem for him. He's having to spend a lot of his cash, a lot of the extra cash that he's gaining from having that extra expansion, just on making a million different spore colonies, which are all going to die. Now making a spire up in his main, but no Scourge going to be out anywhere near in time to save this ridiculousness from happening. And Bakuryu is able to make all his money back just by doing this. And Sheepdog... I don't know quite how he overlooked that. That spore colony was never going to be able to defend the top side of his natural.
Although, in that process, it is worth pointing out that Bakuryu never did go for any attacks on the drones that were mining the top minerals. So Bakuryu did not pick up any drone kills. Indirectly he did, in the sense that Sheepdog is forced to waste drones making spore colonies, and that in a way kills them, but no, not directly.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he'd have been able to get very many drones. He might have got two, but apart from that, I don't think too many drones have been forced to the top side, so he probably wouldn't have got a huge number. But yeah, you're right, he might have been able to seize that opportunity a little bit better and catch some drone kills. But he still does have a fairly decent opportunity to do that. I mean, if we can see that top of the natural expansion, still I don't think he's going to be adequately defended. I still think there's going to be a gap right there from which he can snipe into drones, and exactly that is going to start happening right here. You see those spore colonies get one shot off, but two drones going down, and this is where Bakuryu is going to start looking really dangerous.
Very many drones is a relative term, and picking up just two drones like that, it's a pretty decent-sized blow. It's definitely very easy for Bakuryu to pick up those kills with the poorly positioned spore colonies, and he can just keep coming back. I think anytime that those drones are not mining on the bottom three patches, they're vulnerable to the Mutalisks. Now, Bakuryu does not have any lings of his own, and really does not have a whole lot of defense, so he does need to be careful of all these lings from Sheepdog. If Sheepdog attacks with the lings, Bakuryu is forced to bring his Mutalisks back to defend. And if Sheepdog attacks with the lings and Bakuryu does not see them leave, Bakuryu's going to be in a bit of trouble, because they can do a lot of damage before he has any way to respond to that. So, it's definitely something that Bakuryu needs to be wary of, and he is. He's coming in with the Mutalisks now, picking off some of them as they run around. But as long as he keeps that under control, Bakuryu is in a great position.
Yeah, I think he is in a nice position. He might even be able to consider a third base. I mean, he's not really fully droned up on his two bases, but the extra gas might be a little bit of an advantage. Finally, we have Museless coming in from Sheepdog. He might be able to pick off a few drones before bakuryu is able to get in there and defend. No drones going down yet, but there goes one drone. There goes a second drone as well. But bakuryu should be able to catch all these Museless and take them all down before they run home if he micros this properly, which I think he will. Sheepdog looking a little bit peculiar on the microphone, but he does leave one Museless behind, which might be able to pick up one more drone kill. No, it looks like it won't. bakuryu does manage to deal with that. Sheepdog escaping with the bulk of his Museless, but even that is not a huge count, so bakuryu definitely still has the map control, and one drone is really not bad for the cost of Museless. I wouldn't have said that bakuryu really lost out there. And Sheepdog once again heading out with the links, trying to prevent bakuryu presumably from getting any kind of third base up.
I'm questioning whether that was on purpose from Sheepdog, to retreat with all the Mutalisks and leave one behind. Because in reality, it worked out really well for him. If he had retreated with all of them, then bakuryu would have pursued with all of his Mutalisks, and Sheepdog could have split out his Mutalisks, but even with a really nice split, he would have lost 2. This way, he only lost 1, and every other one got away.
Oh,
but it looked like a mistake.
Yeah, it may have been a little bit of an error. We see a bunch of lings going into the natural expansion of bakuryu and trying to get some drone kills, but nothing doing. We actually have burrow happening, which is a very, very interesting way of trying to deal with this, and could actually be quite effective. So the burrow upgrade is now complete, and that probably puts an end to Sheepdog actually killing any of bakuryu's drones. I don't see how he would even manage to get any. We now have a third base happening up at the 12 o'clock for Sheepdog. bakuryu probably could deal with that. I mean, Sheepdog's stuck being very, very passive. He does have a decent enough Museless count now, but I'm still not sure if it's equal to bakuryu's. I'm trying to figure it out, but of course it is notoriously difficult to tell who has the more Museless without a multi-unit selection in replay, which I don't have switched on at the moment. So any engagement now could be pretty even, and it will probably come down to micro. But I don't know if either player will want to engage, because it's just so hard to call at this point for the players and for myself.
Well, Sheepdog seems like he wants to engage. He's flying into the natural of bakuryu, and bakuryu comes in from the behind with his full pack of 11 Mutalisks. Neither player is microing here, and it actually looks like it's pretty even numbers. Both players also have +1 armor, so everything's looking as even possible. Reinforcements coming in from Sheepdog, now reinforcements coming in from bakuryu. There are overlords overhead that tank up some of the damage, but it looks like Sheepdog just has more Mutalisks and is going to be able to come out with a very large advantage here. But Scourge coming out from bakuryu, and they all split to different targets. I'm pretty sure 5 Mutalisks just died to Scourge there. And Sheepdog is going to retreat now. Oh, a very, very close battle. 2 more going down. Wow, and nearly a complete trade there.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know why either player wants to engage at that point. Sheepdog must have somehow known that he had the advantage. He's going to have to try and micro these out, but he does not have the Ziki-style micro, whereby Scourge looked like no threat whatsoever. And that has really pretty much equalized itself. We now have 37 supply for Sheepdog, but looking at it, we have only 24 supply now for bakuryu versus 37 for Sheepdog. So Sheepdog's position is actually looking fairly good. bakuryu cheekily burrowing a Zergling up at the 12 o'clock, so that's going to be a little bit tricky to clear out. It looks like he will finally be able to make his natural safe. Oh, he might lose another drone. He does lose another drone, unfortunately, to one single Zergling, which manages to break its way through, but now he should be able to defend quite easily against these Zerglings as they come in. Well, if not for these Museless, which are coming in to back up, and these Museless could do one hell of a lot of damage. bakuryu's Museless count is looking incredibly low. Sheepdog might be able to do a Spore Colony hatch just in time. That might just give bakuryu the edge to take this, but Sheepdog's still in the natural with the link, still doing a lot of damage. One Sunken manages to pop, and bakuryu is forced to drill with his drones, and Sheepdog is just going all out on the aggression here. bakuryu needs to get his drones out there right away, because he's just starting to lose way too much for this to be viable. Why doesn't he burrow them down? Why doesn't he just make them safe? bakuryu, you have the option. Keep your drones safe. He is able to just take out all the links, but he lost about 5 or so drones in that engagement. Now Sheepdog is all over this. I don't know how bakuryu can hold on. He is hatching out more Museless, with which he'll probably just be able to beat back those of Sheepdog, but he is going to be fighting such an uphill battle from here on in.
What I'm really trying to figure out is what the rationale is for bakuryu taking a third base. It's only mineral only. He can't get gas off of it. He doesn't need the larva because he didn't have a really good economy when that first started to go up.
Oh, another drone.
Another drone. He certainly doesn't need the minerals. I don't know, that's a lot of minerals invested in this hatchery. Well, we'll see.
Oh, another drone. This seems incredibly unnecessary. Bakuryu's lost so many drones. Just to the occasional Ling being sent in, just for lack of really good targeting, which I'm very, very surprised to see. But Sheepdog making those Lings pay off, even with Museless camping in the natural. The aggression is done for now, but once again Sheepdog with a good number of Museless in the middle of the map, looking like he's ready once again to try some sort of push. Will he go for the microless bust, or will he try something a little bit more refined this time?
Yeah. Man, both players now have the more Scourge hits out in the middle of the map, but I think that Bakuryu is still at the disadvantage here. Meanwhile, Zerglings are running by, and that's going to force Bakuryu to pull back whether or not he had the advantage. Sheepdog has built almost no Scourge this game, and that's really what's been able to save Bakuryu here. A couple of Scourge coming in from Sheepdog now, like those might be the first ones, and the drones are finally being pulled from Bakuryu back to the main where there's a sunken, where it's much easier to drill the drones, but the Mutalisks overhead are still very scary at this point. There are no sunkens, more Scourge getting hits and Scourge popping out.
Wow. Sheepdog has been so careless against the Scourge this game. Pretty much every Scourge that Bakuryu has produced has hit a Mutalisk. And his clothing has been good, so he's been able to make them really pay. There is just one Mutalisk now left.
Oh, is he going to be able to snipe that hatchery?
It looks like he probably is.
Yeah.
And there are a couple more Scourge coming in for Sheepdog. One Scourge is going to be able to do it. These Lings might just be able to finish the job, and they are able to do it. The hatchery goes down, so Bakuryu is looking very weak right now. Sheepdog getting a third up of his own. Super well defended back in his natural as well, with 3 spore colonies and well ahead on the supply count, to 41 to 30 in Sheepdog's favour. And Bakuryu is now confined to a very small space, and he's got to try and make this work. I'm wondering whether I imagined him researching Burrow or whether he actually did, because it doesn't seem like he's been too willing to use the technology at all, whereas it may have actually saved him a good deal of drones throughout this game.
He did burrow some Lings. So he definitely does have Burrow, but no, he has not used it for the drones. I don't know if he was intending to use it for the drones. Maybe that's just not crossed his mind as a possible way of dealing with this. I mean, if you do burrow your drones, you are stopping mining, where if you're drilling them, you're actually able to kill the Zerglings off to a certain extent. Possibly. I'm just trying to come up with any rationale at all. The Zerglings almost sniped that hatchery, getting down to under 50 health. Credit to Bakuryu for being able to hold off against this never-ending onslaught of aggression from Sheepdog. But he's still behind by 20 supply.
If Sheepdog would be more careful against those Scourge, I'm sure he would be absolutely winning position by now.
Game would be over, no doubt.
He's lost so many Mutas to Scourge. It's like he didn't even try to micro. He should get himself a micro map and get learning, because that micro would have absolutely won him this game at this point. But as it is, Bakuryu is still in it. When at so many points he's looked, it's honestly utterly screwed. But he's somehow still clinging on with, he's got his Mutas count back up and running. He's still well behind. I mean, he's nearly, Sheepdog's nearly double Bakuryu's supply at this point, but he's still not out of it. There is slightly the risk that it'll turn into a little bit of a waiting game, whereby Bakuryu is just kind of having to play super conservative until eventually Sheepdog does take it. But for now, he still does have half a shot at getting himself back into this if he can do some damage soon.
Yeah, I mean, Bakuryu's certainly taking the long-term approach. He is sporing up at all of his bases. I really don't know why why he got this third base and why he built spore colonies there to defend it when they could be better served being at the natural. But he does have stuff up at his third base, and he is getting his hive. It just started. The Queen's Nest has finished. He doesn't have any sunkens. That's still an issue, as Sheepdog's been attacking with a combination of both Mutalisks and Zerglings. So Bakuryu needs to constantly be scared of the Zerglings. But other than that, I think he's going to be fine against the Mutalisks for now, as we proceed to phase number 2 of a ZVZ. I guess phase number 3.
Whatever on earth that is. Yeah, I think we've just had phase 2, maybe?
Yeah.
But we are now seeing the hive tech get cracked out from Bakuryu, and soon to be as well from Sheepdog. He's got the Queen's Nest on the way, doesn't have the hive yet, but he will very soon. And this is where it gets really crazy. This is going to be weird. I mean, it's always a bit of a lottery for how it goes after this stage, because, of course, as a Zerg player, you very rarely practice this situation. It's not something you find yourself doing very often, so it's kind of very improvisational when it gets to this point. at all levels. So going to be very, very curious to see what happens. And we can often see players favouring very different approaches. And personally, I love Zerg v Zerg when it just gets stupid and you get lurkers and octopus and hydras and, you know, full-on ground armies in Zerg v Zerg. I just think it's hilariously awesome.
I don't know. I mean, no, you don't practice Hive as much as you do other things, but I'm gonna say more than half of the Foreigner ZVZs I've casted had bakuryu in it. I think bakuryu knows what he's doing. Hive ZVZ.
I'm pretty sure he does.
We'll see. You're right. It is a bit of a crapshoot. It's one plague completely changes the game. One awesome ensnare completely changes the game.
Yeah.
One really good set of devourer shots, even with the Mutalisk not splitting out, completely changes the game.
Yeah. And we have bakuryu going for the greater spy here straight away, so he's going to try and make that remaining Mutalisk count work for him. Still remains to see what Sheepdog's going to do with his Hive tech. He does have slightly more options because he's got more gas, of course, and it's looking like he's going to take a 4th base as well. If he can get that, he's going to have a lot of choices available to him. He is going for the Greater Spire as well, so by no means a bad thing if he can just directly counter what bakuryu is doing. Just go like for like, except he should have more, logically, because he's got the extra cash. Now 109 supply for Sheepdog, whereas 62 for bakuryu. Not looking great for our yellow Zerg from LRM.
I do want to point out that Sheepdog had +1 attack working on the Greater Spire. But you can't get a Greater Spire and get an upgrade at the same time, so he's forced to cancel it and then start the Greater Spire. But he really had not started that +1 very long ago. I think that's an indication that he doesn't play Hive ZVZ a lot, for that to have not crossed his mind when he started that upgrade. Because really there was no point. And he waited for money to get the Greater Spire. He could start that Greater Spire a little bit earlier if he canceled it earlier, which he had to anyway. Just a small thing, probably overanalyzing it, but bakuryu has Devours out. Let's see how much splash he can get. He got some pretty good splash on those units. Oh, 9 acid spores on the pack already, or at least a good portion of the pack. But will it be enough?
It should be. I mean, Devours are just so tough.
I don't know.
I mean, they take a hell of a lot of killing. It might not be enough, though. We have a lot of links coming in from the back from Sheepdog as well. He might be able to bust this. As we see, the Devourers absolutely win the day against Mutalisk. I mean, it takes so much doing to actually kill a Devourer. I really wouldn't fancy my chances. But the hatchery at the natural does go down, along with a couple of colonies too. I don't know if any drones went down, but either way, there are a lot of links making their way into the main now. bakuryu just needs to maintain his drone count, and Devourers will be the deciding force in the air until Sheepdog gets some of its own, and he should be able to afford quite a few. We see Sheepdog going down to 0 gas in the bank, though. I'm not quite sure what's happened there. Has he just morphed a huge number of units that I'm not seeing, or does he just have no money?
He does have 5 Mutalisks on the way.
But they're not going to be worth a bean against all of these Devourers and Mutalisks coming at him right now. What's he got? Where's all the extra money gone? Where's all his gas?
I don't know. There's a Defiler Mound. But that doesn't take that much gas. I actually didn't realize at first exactly how many Devourers bakuryu has. Normally, you don't see quite this many Devourers, just in terms of ratio. Bakuryu going a little bit heavier on the Devourer side. So far, working out very well for him, but it's coming from an infamiliarity of Sheepdog in this matchup. When there was an engagement, bakuryu did not have a whole lot of Mutalisks, but the Devourers were tanking all the shots. If Sheepdog had turned around and attacked bakuryu's Mutalisk first, ignored the Devourers, beyond, other than like splitting your Mutalisks, you pay attention to them long enough to split your Mutalisk, but you focus all your fire on bakuryu's Mutalisks, Sheepdog could have won that fight. Because
maybe
it certainly would not have been
for reduce the attack time to half or something like that.
It's not quite as brutal as everyone at half. I think it's 10% per spore. But the point is, the point is that it wouldn't have been as lopsided as it was. Bakuryu lost almost nothing in the air. It was really the Zerglings that did a lot of damage there. And wow, we have the first Defiler out.
I feel like Sheepdog broke a pretty basic rule there by teching in 2 different directions, mind you, and then attacking before his tech kicked in. So he kind of really hamstrung himself there by spending money on tech, and then throwing all his units away before his tech came into play. It seemed like a very, very odd decision, and undoubtedly a mistake. And now sheepdog looks like he's going to try and engage again. He's going to try and go in against these Devourers. I don't think that would be a good idea. It looks like he is reconsidering, because I think that bakuryu would definitely once again be able to take the engagement. Devourers are just so incredibly good and so incredibly hard to kill. And sheepdog is aware of this base in the top left-hand corner going up for bakuryu, but I don't know if there's anything he can do about it. And a lot of lings now heading down to the bottom right. Will they be able to take care of this base? There is very little there in order to deal with them, but is there plague in that defiler? I think there probably is.
No, plague's only halfway done in the defiler mound. So plague isn't quite out yet. If he can stall a little bit longer, but he's not going to have time. Plague's not going to be done. He can cast a swarm over the drones to protect them, but that's about it. Plague 80% done. It's getting there, and bakuryu backed off. So that means next engagement, plague will be available. Now here's something to... Something you really need to consider about plague is you don't want to plague and then attack. That is a terrible idea. Just because if you plague and then attack, the plague doesn't do damage fast enough to the mutalisks to get the full extent. You want to have defilers out randomly in the map and plague the mutalisks by accident, really. And then engage in a little while longer, so that the plague has already gone away, but the mutalisks have only recovered back up to 12 health, rather than engaging them and have them all at an average of 90, because the plague hasn't really set in yet. And that's going to be a really big thing. I don't know if Sheepdog knows this, because he's keeping the Defiler with the Mutalisks, but if he plagues and immediately attacks, that's the worst way to use a plague.
And bakuryu, I'm sure, will know this, because as we've already said, bakuryu is going to be the more experienced at this stage of the game. Sheepdog looks like he is going to go for it. Where are your Devourers, bakuryu? Okay, they're coming up from the rear, and it looks like he's going to be an engagement for Sheepdog. Where is his plague? Could he plague on these Mutalisks? They could go down. Will he plague his own Mutalisks as well at the same time? bakuryu managing to position himself. Oh, and the plague goes down on the Devourers. Devourers are very, very tough, but nothing can withstand for very long against plague. They're going to start losing health very, very quickly. All of bakuryu's Mutalisks have got out. All of his Devourers are going to go down as well. This is going to start looking good for Sheepdog. He's definitely going to be able to take this base down. Bakuryu does have the left-hand side base up, which Sheepdog undoubtedly knows about because it's damaged, but bakuryu just lost all of his units, and they were expensive. 47 supply once again for bakuryu against 99. 100 supply for Sheepdog. Bakuryu is still living on borrowed time. I still don't know if he has any real shot at this game, or if it's just going to be a long, drawn-out defeat.
God, bakuryu made a huge mistake there. The Devourers are just so worthless. Absolutely worthless without a good number of Mutalisks surrounding them. So they got there after bakuryu, all of his Mutalisks has already died, and I don't think they got a single one of Sheepdog's killed, and he threw away all 6 of his Devourers. That's huge. Oh, a really terrible, terrible engagement for bakuryu. He really wanted to keep that expansion up, but just was not able to, and now he lost his entire air force. He has Devourers himself. He has a Hydralisk den and is getting Hydralisk speed. Bakuryu has given up the air and is going to play Hydra Defiler. Oh boy.
I don't think Hydralisks work. I'm just going to say that now, just so it's on record. I don't really think Hydralisks work.
He needs the clutchest of swarms. If he can get the clutchest of swarms, Hydralisks will work.
But that plays a bit for bakuryu because his Defiler control is good. So that could kind of work out for him. And we have a plague going down on the hatchery, which means that's going to be incredibly snipeable. So that hatchery...
I don't know. Plague only does like 200 damage.
Oh, okay, so never mind. It's still going to be pretty snipeable, but not quite as snipeable as I thought it might. Interesting to plague buildings, I guess. It's kind of valid.
He wanted to get the plague and hit all 4 spore colonies and the hatchery.
Yeah, a plague goes down on the Mutalisks, and now that is a seriously big deal. I may not know much about plague, but I know it does one hell of a lot of damage to Mutalisks. So now that's a huge number of Sheepdog's Mutalisks, which are not quite invalidated, but are going to be dropping like flies. So once again, and another plague goes down. Bakuryu is making that building into a lair, but will it be too late? I'm not quite sure if that's going to come up in time to save it from the onslaught of Mutalisks, because it's going to be relegated to 1 health very, very soon, as are all of those spawn as well. Another plague goes down on those Mutalisks. I think re-plagued a fair number of the Museless, which are already severely damaged. The Ling's going in to try and take down... Why are they not killing the hatchery? Why are they not killing the hatchery? They could have killed the hatchery. Okay, now he's going to kill the hatchery. Surely he's going to go for it.
Yeah.
It looks like he's saving it till last.
It's recovering health. It's back up to 8.
It's recovering health. What is even happening? Why did he not snipe? We didn't get it.
What?
And Bakuryu manages to get a top left-hand base up. And is doing some damage down the bottom right.
He plagued that hatchery literally 3 times. And then did not kill it.
What, and even... he had things in there for so long. He had about a good 20 seconds of Ling time on a 1 HP hatchery, and they were just running around it. If they'd have fallen over and bumped into the hatchery, it would have exploded. They could have done anything, and there is a couple of Lings coming in. Will he finally do the job? This is just killing me. It looks like this has got to be it. Finally! Finally gets the critical last couple of hits, and Bakuryu manages to get a little bit of unexpected extra gas squeezed out of those hatcheries. That hatchery, rather. And Sheepdog manages to discover top left. Bakuryu is still so ridiculously far behind. He's still at half the supply of Sheepdog, and probably about half the economy as well where we're at it. So that situation's not going to get any better, and he's still just surviving, not really getting himself back into this in any concerted way. And it's hard to see how he can proceed.
It's just a slow transition for Bakuryu. He now has a decent number of Hydralisks. He's getting Nidus canals up to be able to handle attacks at different locations. He managed to hold off Sheepdog's attack with those big Mutalisks. That was a huge step. Now Bakuryu can play the game that he wanted to play as soon as he threw down the Defiler mound. This is where he wanted to get into the game. Can he manage to make the comeback fully? It's gonna be hard. But he's managed to get over the first hurdle, and he's getting Defiler energy upgrade. Nice.
Yeah, the first hurdle to coming back is not losing. That is definitely an important hurdle, which somehow Bakuryu has managed to circumvent. I don't know quite how, but he has. It's a good job to him there. But we just have so many muses out for Sheepdog right now that there's going to have to be some super plagues going for Bakuryu to actually deal with this, because Hydralisks aren't that good. I mean, there are 3 control groups of Mutalisk here with Defiler backing and a few Lings smattered into the mix as well, just for good measure. There are 3 control groups of Mutas looking like they're going to start attacking Bakuryu anytime now. There are Lurkers down for some bizarre reason. I guess they'll deal with the Lings pretty easily, but there's going to have to be some great plagues. Not that it's outside of Bakuryu's capabilities. We could see him land some really, really nice plagues all over these Mutas and thus take the engagements if the timing is good for him.
Yeah. Bakuryu got a lair at the top natural, which is funny only in the sense of he did not get a lair over at the over at his mid left base. He just kind of let that one die, but this one he decided to get into a lair to get the extra health. Bakuryu does like to get lairs a lot to keep hatcheries alive. And here we go, the Mutalisks coming in. Swarm! There we go, the swarm is down! The Mutalisks are doing nothing! The Mutalisks are doing nothing. They're now backing off. And the plague! Oh, the last second plague! Oh, that was so close to missing it. But he got it.
Holy crap. That is exactly the kind of plague that I was just talking about that could get Bakuryu back into this. That is a huge, huge number of 1 health Mutalisks right now. And Sheepdog was able to do nothing in that engagement except bin a bunch of his stuff. Bakuryu did plague a few of his own units in the process, but that doesn't matter. A few Hydralisks is nothing compared to the damage he just did to Sheepdog's standing army. And Sheepdog can't engage for a good long while now because he would just get absolutely torn to shreds. And Bakuryu is defending and might be able to get his nose back in front.
Sheepdog's going in anyway. He led with the full health Mutalisk to try to tank shots. But that one Spore Colony was able to get 3 Mutalisk kills itself. Does manage to take out that Expo. Really only had 32 minerals left. Yeah, so not terribly important. Not terribly important for Bakuryu here. And I don't know. Sheepdog should be playing more passively here. He cannot afford to accidentally throw away 2 control groups of Mutalisks.
I hesitate to say it, but Bakuryu is well back on the good side of this game. He has suddenly caught up astronomically fast in terms of supply count. Only a couple of minutes ago, he was 60 supply versus 120. Now he is 94 supply versus 134. He is on the warpath right now, and if it continues going this way, Sheepdog just does look a little bit clueless at this stage of the game, and bakuryu could well take it now.
Definitely agree that there is some inexperience showing from Sheepdog here. He is now, okay, I was about to talk about how Guardians are a kind of legitimate option, and he is morphing 8 of them at top right. Now, the Hydralisks are going to have a really hard time getting to him, but obviously bakuryu does have a Spire. He can get some Mutalisks out and some Scourge out. So Sheepdog should keep some Mutalisks up here. He should keep the Mutalisk force around there just to ward off bakuryu's occasional air unit. Sheepdog has that air lead. He needs to just keep his forces together. But the Guardians are going to be able to do a lot of damage here very quickly. Swarm does go down. Swarm's going to stall to a certain extent. Swarm doesn't cover everything. He's going to have to consume a lot to keep it constant. And, probably most importantly, Swarm does not cover the buildings. That lair is still very snipeable for that number of Guardians.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think those Guardians might fancy their chance. One of them looks like it's going to get just chipped away at, and it's probably going to go down just to one Hydra's worth of fire, which is a little bit of a waste for Sheepdog. I'm not quite sure how bakuryu is going to deal with this. Another nice plague going down. He's actually plagued the Side Disruptors. How is that even possible? How can he plague a Side Disruptor? I don't understand that. But there are a fair few Plague Mutalisks right here. They're going to try and take on some Hydralisks.
Sorry.
Go on.
I got excited about Plague Mutalisks trying to get to the Hydralisks. And the Guardians are actually engaging. The Guardians are engaging without the Mutalisk support. Sheepdog! What? Sheepdog, why did you move your Mutalisks away? You need to keep them there. Oh, they're coming back now. He cost him a couple of Guardians. He's down to just 6. I think he's lost 2, with 2 of them very injured.
Yep.
And he moved away with the Mutalisks again. Bakuryu's going to be able to fly in once again with his Mutalisks and pick off the low health ones. But those Guardians are chewing through the buildings very quickly. He has observers so he can see the lurkers. And he's going to be able to get the lair? Maybe? The Mutalisks are stepping forward. They're trying to attack the Guardians. Where are Sheepdog's Mutalisks? They're somewhere else. I don't see any green dots flying to help out here. And no, he's going to lose all of his Guardians. Oh my god, he's not going to get the lair.
Oh,
he's not
and the plague goes down
long enough to get the lair.
Will he maybe get it? No, he won't. Those Guardians just did not target fire well enough. Why is he target firing the eggs? What? Sheepdog, what is happening here? Why would you target fire the eggs? I don't understand. But either way, the engagement goes to bakuryu, and he's able to hold the top left-hand base, if only temporarily. There is a huge, and I mean huge, train of links headed over there, and it's just going to be a matter of time. Will bakuryu be able to hold this off, or will they be able to get the hive snipe? It's going to be close. They might be able to grab it, however. They might be able to make their way all the way into the main base there as well, and take out some drones, and maybe take out the hatchery there as well. That top left-hand corner hatchery does go down in the natural expansion. But meanwhile, bakuryu is down at the bottom right-hand corner, and he is chewing his way through what remains of Sheepdog's economy. He's able to take care of the natural expansion, might be able to make his way into the main as well, which would leave Sheepdog on just one mining base. And bakuryu is able to defend his top left-hand corner as well. He should be able to make up the natural once again, if he so wishes, which I'm sure he will. And he might actually be able to continue pushing on into the bottom right-hand corner main. He's burrowing down lurkers. The question is, how much damage do the lurkers do against Ultralisks? It seems that Lurker Hydra is actually not bad against Ultralisks, but this attack will be repelled for now. So Sheepdog holding on to the bottom right-hand corner. And these players looking relatively even at this point, but I still give bakuryu the edge just because it looks like he's got far more of a clue.
In the same way you need defilers in TVZ, you need defilers now, Sheepdog. You need the swarm to protect the Ultralisks from Hydralisks. It's absolutely imperative that he doesn't have Ultralisks running around the map, or protect them from Mutalisks. Protecting from Mutalisks is good too. It looks like Sheepdog is attacking a lot of forces top left, but just coming up, bringing them into a Congo line is not going to work. He needs to consolidate his forces. And this is the hazards of Hive TVZ. It's just so chaotic that you can get very sloppy. And Sheepdog has just forgotten how to play StarCraft. He needs to play it like a TVZ at this point. You absolutely, like, the same principles apply. You have to expand. You have to keep your army together. You have to have the Defiler support. All that still applies, even though this is so foreign. Oh, play going down.
I have to sympathize with Sheepdog a little bit because I know how he feels when you're landed in a situation which you're so not prepared for, so not used to. Then it's so hard to play properly. It's so hard to do anything right. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing here. Just complete confusion on his part. He's not dead yet, but bakuryu just seems to know his way around this stage of the game, where Sheepdog just doesn't. And when you find yourself in one of these situations, it absolutely messes with your head. Even when you think you know what needs doing, you just can't do it. Your hands and your brain will not work. And Sheepdog is very much on the wrong side of that right now, whereas bakuryu is has been looking relatively comfortable for a while at this high-level stage of the game, which I've got to say I'm pretty surprised to be seeing right here.
Bakuryu,
especially after the way the other game went.
Bakuryu is finally... Oh, he was momentarily tied in supply. Now leading in supply. Bakuryu is leading in supply for the first time this game. I think this is the first time Bakuryu has had the supply lead this game.
Yeah.
Certainly,
so.
Certainly the first time since 5 minutes in. And at this point, Baku's just rolling. He has way too much momentum. Sheepdog is trying everything he possibly can. He tried Ultralisks. He's now switching back into Scourge Mutalisk because why not? Nothing's working for him. Nothing's working for him. Yeah,
nothing's worked since Scourge Mutalisk worked. And even that didn't work because he didn't micro it properly.
Yeah. And this is definitely... Bakuryu knows how to play this. Sheepdog does not. And it really showed that Bakuryu, through persistence and through really smart decision making, was able to work his way back in. A very, very well played game from Bakuryu.
Yeah, I agree with what you just said. I mean, the 6 clock base does go down again, but Bakuryu is able to once again remake the top left hand natural expansion, so he's going to get another base up for his money nonetheless. And Sheepdog is just trying to catch up, just trying to get his breath and trying to find a unit combination that works, but he's so far failing to do so. He's been just not in any way cost effective throughout the later stages of the game, and it's really, really telling. I don't know how he can win this, just judging by the way this is going. Lurkers are incredibly good against Lings, by the way. Lings just melt. I love it. It's brilliant.
Like they have the low health of Marines, but the clumping and run directly at principles of Zealots combined into one very squishy unit.
It's really hideous. I don't think I've ever seen it before,
I don't think Sheepdog's expanded in the past 20 minutes. He's just bet on 4 bases.
Weird. Bakuryu just flew all his Mutalisks directly through all of Sheepdog's Mutalisks and through a bunch of Scourge at the same time, just kind of eating them up as he went through. And as such, he's going to throw away quite a lot of his units in what was a very, very strange move indeed. Nice Mutalisk split, though. Means that he's able to save most of his stuff. And he's trying to get the 12 o'clock base back up as well, which he might just succeed in doing. Sheepdog looks like he's going to scout it. Will he scout it? Yes, he will scout it. Just a couple of Hydras there to hold. They're not going to be good enough. And a few Lings as well. Obviously not hugely effective. Sheepdog going in with Mutalisks once again into Bakuryu's natural. That was definitely a control error. There is no other reason why he would possibly have chucked Mutalisks into Bakuryu's natural. But coming back out with a bulk of his Mutalisks, will Bakuryu be able to get the Defiler snipe? The Dark Swarm!
What?
I think that was just for the sake of casting it. I think we can give Sheepdog some credit in that he didn't think it would save him.
Miskick Plague?
Oh my god, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what's happening anymore.
I like how Bakuryu sniped the Defiler that immediately burrowed all its Lings, and then realized, oh wait, I'm actually completely safe and they all unburrow.
I didn't even notice that. That was brilliant. So, with the top left-hand corner natural back up again, and Ultralisks chewing through the bottom right-hand natural, I think this game is going to be over. one final engagement coming into the top left-hand corner. We do have the Museless that might be able to do some decent damage here. Dark Swarm goes down again, and as the Defiler runs its way in, it gets completely trashed by those Lurkers. Lurkers are super good against anything that walks. These Museless once again going in against quite a lot of Spore Colonies, but 4 Spore Colonies, it seems, is the magic number. So many Museless going down right now for Sheepdog, and I think this is Sheepdog's last hurrah. His bottom right-hand corner base is gone. His attack is pretty much failed at this point. He might just be able to get some traction with it. There's only 1 Spore Colony there left to deal with this, but there are more Devourers coming in from bakuryu, and I think he's going to be able to clear up the last of these Museless with the Devourers that are coming to the top left, and the top right is undoubtedly done. GG from Sheepdog in a game where he looked certain to take it at so many points. Bakuryu pulls it back with a ridiculous Hive level ZVZ lasting beyond the 40-minute mark. And Hacklebeast, I had no idea what I was letting myself in for when I said I would cast this series.
I should have known. I should have known. LRM versus IWL was the longest last time around, or last season of Gambit Cup. It's looking to be the longest this time around. After game 1.
It's already like almost as long as each of the other clan wars.
God, I hope Executor's sick. You better be sick.
Oh god. Oh god. Please let him not play. Oh my goodness. Right, I'm ready for the next one, whatever it may hold.
Alright. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Game.
Oh my god.
I like how we've been casting long enough that we're on the exact same wavelength, where we're both laughing hysterically, nearly crying, but not quite. It's more laughing at the silliness of it all. But if it's Executor, it'll be really crying right now. God, no Executor.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Bakuryu knows. Bakuryu knows who it is. And on the right side, as the Orange Zerg, we have LRM Bakuryu. On the left side, we have Sir Democrat.
Oh. Yeah, we do.
Safe for this
Democrat.
game. Democrat.
Do you know anything about Democrat?
He's played. He certainly played for Sir previously in Gambit Cup. I don't know if he's played every time or just last time.
Okay.
No, he's played every time. He's played every time so far. He lost to some Chinese dude, and he lost to Zeki. So, not particularly good people to be going up against to be able to judge your skill level.
Yeah. Oh, I need to take a minute after that game. My god. Oh my god. I just hope this one doesn't go on. That's all I can say. I just hope this one doesn't go on for so long. Just didn't see it coming, man. I didn't see it coming.
Democrat sent his probe down. You can see it got pretty far across the bridge and then headed back. Or at least came down a little bit too far. Democrat might have misclicked in his scouting. And when a player misclicks in their scouting, it typically means that they don't know the map. And Electric Circuit is not a map that is good for not knowing. It's a pretty convoluted map the first time you see it. So, on the other hand, Bakuryu is completely divorced from shenanigans. You will never see Bakuryu doing Hydralisk drops into the main, but it's possible.
Yeah, anything's possible. Oh, okay. So we have what looks to be a fairly decent wall-in from Democrat. I feel like I have to highlight it every time we see a decent wall-in because it sticks in my mind so strongly that we saw so many bad wall-ins in ISL. It absolutely cracked me up. Much as I loved it, you know, it was hilariously good, but they stressed me out. I'm not gonna lie, they seriously stressed me out. Did Democrat already scout, or is this just an incredibly late scout?
Did Bakuryu scout? He scouted.
Okay.
I'm almost certain Bakuyu scouted.
No, Democrat.
Oh, Democrat?
Did he
Yeah.
scout?
Democrat definitely sent out a scout before.
Okay. Alright, so I just think he'd gone blind and just gone 2 cannons. I don't think
Nah, he sent it out with
that
the
really
initial
pays for
probe.
itself. Okay, alright, good. And now is that his second probe? It must be a second probe.
I actually don't know if that's the first probe that's just been out for a long time.
I think I just saw that coming from his main, I think.
Then, yeah, he sent a second one.
Yeah, so he needs to not lose that probe, so otherwise it's getting expensive if you end up sending out 3 scouting probes. It gets a little bit ridiculous. Doing some weird drilling action, running severe risk of actually losing that second scouting probe. He needs to keep that alive for a good while, because that second scouting probe is going to give him invaluable information. As we've already seen, if you do not scout a Zerg properly, you land yourself in some serious troubles, potentially anyway, if there's any kind of cheese coming your way. I wouldn't expect any kind of insane cheese from Bakuryu, but he's always ready to pull out something a little bit unconventional, so I guess we'll see. But that probe is looking like it's going to keep itself alive for a fair while. I'm looking forward to learning more about Democrat.
Yep. Alright, Democrat. He's going for the split. And putting the gap in the middle, and then it's supposed to be tight bottom, and then tight top, but gateway is never top, or excuse me, gateway is never tight on top. So I think that that's a hole. If he had reversed it, put forge on top and gateway on bottom, then there would be a hole in the middle, but the sides would be tight. I don't think that is tight in the most important part.
No,
I don't know.
I think
I don't know if we'll get that tested at some point, but
it doesn't look like we will.
Bakuryu, been playing StarCraft for so long, yet doesn't realize how good Zergling run-bys are.
Yeah, Zergling run-bys are seriously sick.
What a waste!
Oh my god, I keep looking at the stream chat and it messes with my head. Oh, Grimeface is back. I haven't seen Grimeface around for a little while. Grimeface is... I can never figure out, Grimeface, if you're a troll or if you just have these very definite opinions and feel unafraid to say them. I've never been quite sure. Stay true.
Was Grimeface the semi-#1 fan?
Yes, I think he was.
Okay.
I think he was.
I remember him. I remember him.
I did kind of miss you in a weird way, Grimeface.
You know what? I'm okay with people being really passionate about the players they like.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you don't need to be mean to people, and that's where we start to disagree. But I can appreciate the level of passion he had for Semi, and Semi's a good player.
Semi is a good player. I mean, I can't think of a series I've enjoyed more than watching him versus Doty, and for that I'm of course indebted to him and indebted to Doty. But yeah, that was fantastic stuff. But yeah, I can definitely see a good point to having passion about the player you love to watch. I can get behind that. It's cool. We have Bakuryu going for this rather interesting lurkery style build. He's not going for a spire, instead he's just going straight to the lurkers. Has the lair been scouted? I'm kind of a bit up in the air about that. Either way, Bakuryu is going to make sure he denies scouting as much as possible. But this might come a little bit out of the blue for Democrat, and Bakuryu might be able to establish quite a nice position for himself quite early on, because these lurkers are going to be very, very, very early to the party here.
Nah, Bakuryu's going to use them defensively. I imagine. Almost always uses the lurkers defensively, and Democrat did something a little bit cool. If you saw the path of the Overlord went, it went directly from the tip of the natural up to the main like this. It completely missed the 2 gateways. The very quick 2 extra gateways that Democrat threw down. So Bakuryu doesn't realize exactly how strong this attack is going to be. On the other hand, Bakuryu plays really defensively, and he's going to have lurkers in a really nice Sim City. So he's going to be pretty much prepared for it just based on what he normally does. But it's still not good that I don't think he scouted those gateways.
No, I think it's also not good. This is looking quite interesting. He's made those gateways, but he's still looking like he's going to play it fairly standard. I mean, he's making up high tempo. This could be that kind of interesting Archon timing. I mean, these zealots are going to be a little bit of a surprise, but I think he's going to be well enough prepared. Those lurkers are going to pop in just a second. This is a well-timed attack from Democrat, but I think those lurkers are going to be just in time if he burrows it down quickly. And yes, Democrat is going to be forced to pull back. So well-timed lurkers right there from bakuryu. One of just when he needed them most, they were ready to go. And Democrat's going to be turned away at the natural as well. But this does give Democrat a little bit of map control. He can hold quite a high position and stop those lurkers from getting out onto the map. And hopefully for him, he can get another base up and get some cannons down before those lurkers really become any kind of a presence on the map. And this actually isn't a great map for bakuryu to turtle up on, because as we can see, he hasn't got any natural expansions available to him, so he can't just take a natural, take a fourth base easily behind that. He's going to have to be a little bit more proactive, and I think if Democrat can hold a high position, as he is trying to do right here, and snipe out lurkers as they head across the map, he might actually be able to get a third base up before bakuryu is able to really do anything about it.
Yeah, that was a really strong attack from Democrat, and it would have worked against a lot of players. He hit it very well, putting the gateways here, to the point where he may actually know this map to know to put gateways there. But not against bakuryu. Not against that style. It's just really unfortunate that bakuryu is going to end up hard countering that aggression. And yeah, it's a matter of Democrat has he still does have an advantage in the sense that he's going to have more units. He's going to have map control. Does he know how to capitalize on the advantage that he has? He is getting an observatory, which is, he does need an observatory. I hope he doesn't attack, though. I really think he should be really focused on stopping bakuryu from taking a fourth and expanding on his own, as you said. That's a really solid idea at this point. But if he's just getting an observer so that he's able to go through with the attack, it's way too delayed at this point. There's no point. And he has Mutalisk to deal with, because bakuryu goes for the delayed Mutalisk transition.
If these Mutalisks are dealt with very, very quickly, he might have a nice attack timing. I honestly don't think he's going to be able to deal with them that easily, though, because we're seeing this very weirdly quite Russian style, I guess, of not making a Corsair. I don't know why, but I seem to see this quite a lot out of Russian players. They seem to be a little bit light on the Corsair front. He's losing a lot of probes here. He ran 12 of them away. Didn't seem to be too bothered about the rest of them. And the shuttle's going to get sniped out as well. That's very, very unfortunate. So 200 minerals down the drain there, and whatever timing he was trying to hit with that shuttle is going to go to pot. Yes, the shuttle is going to go down, and he's running some High Templar around into very, very bad positions. Throws away one very high energy High Templar, and no cannons defending in his natural either. Those High Templar, will he take the hard way out and storm his own probes into the bargain? Oh, losing another High Templar. This is getting ugly. There we go, storming out two of his own probes and just about catching the Mutalisk. But having no Corsairs and having no Archons, no nothing to do with Mutalisk, can backfire so easily. And I don't understand why you would do this when you know you're playing against bakuryu, who can do this kind of thing at any moment. Another halfway decent storm, but it's not worth a whole High Templar. He now has 0 High Templar out on the map. He has no gas bank whatsoever. He's going to have an incredibly hard time making any kind of engagement work for him for quite some time at this point.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Even if he had gone with a more normal, with a more normal build and gotten a okay number of Corsairs, I don't think it would have been enough. I've certainly seen bakuryu attack players who have 4, maybe even 5 Corsairs, and bakuryu just has too many Mutalisks for that to really work. He's pretty good at splitting them out. It was really bad that Democrat did not have an Archon. It's definitely necessary to have an Archon at that point in the game. But I mean, that's the point of bakuryu's build. He lulls you to sleep by delaying those lurkers so much. Quite often, there's just not enough Mutalisk defenses despite how late it is in the game. And it's counterintuitive the first time you see it. But it really works.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, this could actually go fairly well if he can position his zealots properly with Storm. That could have gone a lot more nicely, but he's unable to take care of the observers, unable to take care of the Scourge, and they are able to get rid of his observers, so the attack falls pretty much flat on his face. All he's basically done there is lost a whole bunch of zealots, and he hasn't been able to make any real progress at bakuryu's main ramp there. And meanwhile, whilst this is the weird thing. Whilst Democrat's forces break at his natural expansion, bakuryu is perfectly happy just to throw up an extra base, which Democrat should logically have been able to prevent, but he just didn't seem too keen on doing so. A real mistake there, and I think he's not doing what we said he should do, and doing the exact opposite.
Yeah, the Mutalisk really did put a wrench in his plan. I don't know if he was going to attack like that, regardless of the Mutalisk. But certainly after the Mutalisks, he just felt pressured. Wanted to go and do some kind of, any kind of damage. Yeah. It was a bad decision. There was no way that attack was going to work out well for him. And he's going to go and try again. He has so few zealots. And there's way too many lings. It's like bakuryu is going to have an overwhelming victory here. And this might be it for Democrat if he just loses his army completely. I don't know if he'll stick in the game much longer after this. He is trying to get up a third base, but that's going to be way too easy for bakuryu to shut down once he realizes it's there.
Yeah. This is such a small force out on the map as well. Oh, the High Templar are getting split off from the main force. This is a very, very small army from Democrat. I don't know what he's doing so far out on the map with so few units. All his dragoons are going to get taken down here really, really easily. It's pretty much rule 1 in PvZ. You do not send your army out if it's not going to be able to deal with itself, because this is how you lose PvZs just so easily and so readily, just by having these small armies chipped away. And then it's so hard to keep a third going and to make a good late game army if your units just keep dying throughout the match. It just makes it impossible to really work. And he's going to try and do some micro. He's going to take down some lings, but he's still going to lose most of his dragoons, and he's lost all his army presence. And now his 6 o'clock base, I'm sure he's going to get dealt with by bakuryu. If not, then it's not because it's safe, but simply because bakuryu has a better idea, because Democrats in a rough position.
Yeah, I mean, things are just looking more and more dire for Democrat. He's still at 71 supply. Baku's up at 100. I assume excuse me, we already saw Baku's hive. He has 5 hatcheries in his main, Defiler Mount, getting Plague. It's just, everything's looking good for Baku. Other than the fact that he really hasn't set up his 4th base. That's like the only thing that's not completely positive for Baku in this game. But really, he'll be able to set it up in time. He'll take a 5th relatively soon as well. And he's just completely pushing Democrat around. Democrat can't do anything but throw little groups of units out. He kind of needs to, in a sense, to try to keep the 6 o'clock alive. But no,
I don't know.
It's not good.
It's not going to do it. If bakuryu wants to take that down, he can, and he's got Defilers heading towards it now with lots and lots of links to back up. If he wants to kill it, he will, and I think that's about the time he's reached. I don't think sending in small groups of units to their death is really gonna help the situation. The best thing he could do is to have positioned a High Templar 2, made lots of cannons, and just tried to hold out, or even transitioned into a Reaver style defense right now at this point, because he's not going to be able to produce the sheer number of units. Nice storm going down on the incoming lings, but there's still plenty more where that came from. The swarm now is going to make all the difference, I think. Yep, going down is going to prevent the cannon fire from doing anything to that large group of lings which is coming in now. bakuryu just needs to keep streaming units and just make this nice and safe by doing so, and he should be able to get rid of this base. Might just be beaten back for the time being. Democrat bringing in some reinforcements, but I think this next wave of lings is going to be enough, and playing the next as well, interestingly enough.
Yeah, I think excuse me, I think sheepdog's constant plaguing of Baku's hatcheries is rubbing off on Baku a little bit. He's like, I'll plague your nexus. I think he also did get a probe too, so there's one completely injured probe.
Wow.
So there it is, found it. There we go.
Oh yeah, oh dear, he's in trouble, isn't he? Yeah, one HP, dear me. Well, Baku once again moving in. He's got a lot of lurkers coming in this time. I think this time he means business. We do have Reavers being produced right now for Democrat. I think this is a little bit late. If he decided producing Reavers early, he may well have been able to hold on to this third base, but honestly, it's not going to be what does it at this point. The Reaver getting confused and dying rather awfully. And now Lurker's moving into the natural expansion as well. Bakuryu wants to seal the deal on this one. GG from Democrat. And Bakuryu goes 2 kills in a row now. Or is it 3?
2.
2 kills.
Feels like 4, but it's only 2.
Yeah. Okay.
Alright. Game number 3 has been hosted of LRM versus Sir.
I'm on my way.
Alright. I'm trying to think of players Sir still has left. And they have Oh, right, they still have Spectre. Spectre, who will most likely get the most improbable all-kill in all of Gambit Cup.
Yeah. I didn't see it coming, the Spectre all-kill.
Didn't either.
Gotta say. It came pretty out of the blue. Unfortunately, I didn't actually get to watch that series because that's when my internet was broken, so I didn't see what happened, but it's really, really weird.
Alright. So, in the top position, we have Bakuryu as the purple Zerg, and bottom right, we have Cersei, there we go, as the teal Protoss. And the map is going to be Outlier.
Awesome.
Right.
Oh man, I keep doing this, right. When I cast, I tend to put my foot up on my chair, my left foot for some reason, always my left foot. But when I'm wearing this specific pair of headphones, every time I put my foot down on the floor, it yanks the cable of my headphones because I always seem to tread on it. So I keep losing my hearing in my left ear because of that. So give me a minute while I try and stick this all back together.
Okie doke.
I think I got this.
C is, for all intents and purposes, a player very much like Democrat. He did play week 2 versus China, where he just kind of got beat. Really nothing to say about his game. It's just he got outclassed, and he doesn't have a whole lot of clout. We'll see what he's able to do.
Whereas we all know how good Bakuryu is because he all killed Fox.
Yeah.
And that makes him better than everybody on SJ, and yeah, makes him seriously, well, everybody on SJ combined, I'm gonna say.
All right. This is gonna be a weird wall from C. Like, he can still put the gateway on top of the forge if he wants to, but it's gonna be really far in front of the forge. Unless he goes up with the gateway, but that'd be equally weird.
Yeah. Okay. So we have the mana pylon being thrown down at the natural of Bakuryu and then cancelled out as soon as the hatchery goes down at the off position, which is very, very sensible. This wall-in is interesting. Might kind of work if he puts the gateway at the top. It might be okay. There's not a huge gap to get through, and I think with 2 cannons he's pretty safe from zergling run-bys. Bakuryu is very, very quick to throw down the hatchery at the off position. A lot of zergs don't like to do that. It often seems to be a matter of choice. Some zergs absolutely will not put it down at the off position. They will wait for lings and make a few extra zerglings, but some zergs are very, very happy to do that. It's interesting to see that kind of difference in playstyles.
Alright, and C will be getting the Nexus now, waiting to put the gateway last. And it looks like the probe is going to put the gateway up top. No? Yeah? No. No, okay, it's putting it there.
No. Okay.
So, yeah, that's a really big gap on top. And the gateway's
I don't like that.
very far forward. And zealots are spawning on the outside.
I think that's pretty failed. If you put the gateway on top, that would actually not be too bad. I think ideally he would have put the pylon maybe below, so that the pylon's maybe a little bit extra into the wall, but the gateway on top could have kind of performed that function anyway. So I think he's made a little bit of an off decision there, because of course the lings can now run up around the top and all the way around, mostly avoiding the cannon fire until they get back to the ramp again, pretty much. So not quite as good as it could be, but I think Bakuryu is not too keen on doing the ling run by action as we've seen so far, and he's not looking like he's getting ready for any kind of thing in that vein right now. Perfectly happy to go standard into the mid game, which is alright.
Actually, Bakuryu is putting his third hatchery, his third base, really close. And he is getting 4 hatcheries, so it is looking very much like the Bakuryu build we all know. But when he puts it here, he's not going to be able to SimCity that in with lurkers. So maybe we're going to see something more aggressive from Bakuryu this game? He seems to be hinting at it.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. I can't really imagine why else he would put that base down. Yeah, I think it's going to be something more aggressive. I mean, I can only say this would be a Hydralisk play, but then immediately he puts the lair down, so that makes me question it. I'm going to be very, very curious to see how this proceeds. And whether it can be scouted properly. I mean, we do still have a scouting probe out from C, but it's looking like it might be cleared up pretty quickly, and I don't know how much he knows about this third base. He definitely knows there's no third base down at bottom left, but he doesn't necessarily know that there is or isn't one at this slightly curious location, or what tech path bakuryu has chosen, which is slightly unconventional. So yes, I'm interested to see how he reacts to this, and the Hydra's Den is now down for bakuryu, as well as natural gas.
Alright. So, yeah, the layers are just a little bit fast, but otherwise he's getting the Hydra's Den as we would expect. If he's going to be aggressive, I'm interested to see how he uses the lair. I don't think it's going to be for lurkers. And if it's for fast overlord speed, it seems like it's a little bit of a waste.
It does a bit, doesn't it?
That's a bit odd. Bakuryu has 2 overlords at C's base. One's going deeper into C's main, but the other one's flying away. It's certainly not going to be able to get far enough away to be safe from the Corsair. Since Bakuryu doesn't have a Spire coming.
Yeah, and no Hydras. He does have a couple of Hydras hatching at his natural, which may just be able to get there in time, but hopefully for Bakuryu he doesn't lose 2 overlords. That would be quite a blow to him, especially when it looks like he's gearing up for a pretty big unit explosion. Just a second, he is going for the Hydralisk speed upgrade. Still no real lair tech. Okay, he is just going for the overlord speed apparently. I can't quite imagine why that is. Maybe he is gearing up in a more long-term way for to prepare for drops, which could work, I suppose. I mean, the Zerg drops are always good, they're always scary, you have lots of overlords, you may as well use them for something, but it's quite a long-term thing.
Maybe. I'm gonna put my money on he's just getting overlord speed and being overcautious. Because he's obviously getting it way before DTs could be out. But I think that's what he's going for.
Okay. Cool. Well, I'll just wait and see.
Anyway.
No reason to try and predict it accurately because it's going to happen in front of us, so I guess we'll know the answer soon enough. Is Storm already done, or is
no, the Temple Archive's just finished.
Only just? Okay.
Just.
That seems a little bit delayed. So the Hydras are going to be running rampant for just a little bit. There's a fair few Zealots out. I'm surprised he's not making more of an effort to make sure that ramp is held, but bakuryu doesn't look hugely aggressive at this point. Those Corsairs do know what's up, so C knows that he doesn't need to be defending too high up, but now bakuryu starts to actually move out, and I think C should at least try and hold that ramp right there. Just to stave off the Hydra's pressure for just a bit, because he really needs Storm to defend this properly. Storm is now just begun. Does he have any High Templar in the pipeline? He has 1 High Templar in the pipeline. I'd have thought he'd need a few more than that. It's best, of course, to get the High Templar sooner rather than later, because of course they need to build up energy. But those Hydras are going to be arriving, and C has very little with which to deal with this. He has a handful of speed zealots, but really not enough to take on this Hydralisk force in its current state. And I'm wondering if bakuryu is going to try a bust before the High Templar count gets really out of hand. Oh, and C losing all of his Corsairs now as well in a bit of a blunder.
Bakuryu is threatening to bust in with the Hydralisks, and the cannons are not very well placed. The wall was going to be good to hold off Zergling run-bys, but it is not good to hold off Hydralisk busts. The Forge and the Gateway are, the Forge and the Gateway are vulnerable. That one cannon was vulnerable. Before you get too much farther in the game, have you ever seen a more oddly placed Spire?
Where is it? Let me have a look.
It's in the 3rd.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's weird.
I can't quite explain that. I mean, obviously, it's a perfect SimCity between the hatchery and the Spire, but I can't think what function that really possibly serves. It does kind of block off one side of the hatchery from Zealot pressure, but apart from that, don't really know. And bakuryu, pretty trademark style, has now gone for the Musler switch. So let's see if C is prepared for this. Notably, C very recently binned all of his Corsairs to Hydralisk fire, so he's got really very little with which to deal with this, and he doesn't have any photon cannons in his main. No photon cannons defending his natural expansion mineral line either. So he's looking equally as unprepared as the previous opponent for bakuryu was, if not even more unprepared, because he doesn't even have cannons up and ready. He's going to lose so many probes to this. He's going to have to and straight away leaves the game. Oh, how is it possible to be that badly prepared against something so basic as a muta switch? I mean, I'm not one to criticize usually, but that is mind-blowing.
Oh, man. He's really sad he took out his own Stargate.
Oh.
Oh man. It's like Walker timed that perfectly. It's like, I'm gonna wait for him to finish destroying the Stargate and then attack. Ah, that's not nice.
I'm not very happy about that. I'm not happy. I expected better. Well, I mean, just dying as soon as mutas show up, you'd have thought there would be some kind of contingency plan just in case he happens to make a unit which is readily available to him on his current tech path. Surely you allow for that. But no, not even a single cannon. Nothing.
Well, bakuryu has the best record in Gambit Cup so far. He could get his second all kill now, only needing one more game. You ready?
Alright. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. Oh, come on, bakuryu.
So,
Elegant needs supper.
In the bottom right, as the yellow Zerg, we have bakuryu. And in the bottom left, as the red Protoss, we have... I'm gonna go Powert?
Yeah, I'd say Powert. Because I would usually say Power T, just because it's StarCraft, but there's no Terran. So, yeah, Powert. Not quite sure what that means. Significance of it, spiritual or otherwise. But it is what it is. So yeah, Powert versus...
In other news, he has 700 APM. So that's pretty cool.
What?
Alright, it's Wally.
Maybe just holding down a hotkey. Just Control 9 held down.
Alright. So, yeah. You know what? I'm calling this cast a success. You know why I'm calling this cast a success?
Because you got a shout out from Plumlum.
I was talking specifically about this series, but yeah. Yeah, that was really cool.
Alright, go on.
We casted a Seer game with no Executor and no Fap Man.
So far.
No, it's it. Power's their last dude.
What?
Power's their last dude.
No. Not necessarily. bakuryu... Oh yeah, oh my god. I completely forgot the format. It's late for me.
Clearly.
Oh no.
Man.
Oh, I just need to be quiet for a minute. Oh dear.
You made a lot of those today. You
Yeah.
Clearly
isn't it?
Taking the cat out really just took it out of you.
Well, it uses up a lot of energy, man. Once you take the cat out once, you gotta have some downtime, you know.
I know what you're saying, man.
This is ridiculous. Okay, so we have a little bit of classic bakuryu off position hatchery. This is looking eerily similar to the previous game. The mana pylon goes down, the off position hatchery goes down, which bakuryu just doesn't seem bothered by at all. And making up a few lings, the double cannon going down for the Protoss, and Powert looking entirely ready to make all the same mistakes that his previous teammates have made as well. Let's hope that he can do slightly better than C, who was frankly terrible in the end.
Yeah. Alright. So, the Nexus is coming from Powert. So yeah, this is looking exactly like the last game, as you said, as Barky starts his third hatch. we'll have to see whether he once again goes for the close hatch. I think is entirely possible. I think overall Bakuryu had a bit of a weird build order because he wasn't being super aggressive, yet he didn't build his hatchery in the natural. And Bakuryu said in chat that he wanted Overlord speed quickly so he could get better scouting.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Clearly Bakuryu's thought it through a lot more than I have, but my initial reaction is I'm not really sure that's necessary.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think it does kind of make a little bit more sense when you haven't gone for the Spire early. You've gone for Hydra Disc, so you can get them back into Hydra Disc cover.
Yeah.
Bakuryu, I can't blindly mute a switch, but
yeah,
if you know he's got no cannons, no Corsairs, no Stargate, no Hope, you can do it. That's the point at which you mute a switch.
I'm not advocating never getting Overlord speed. I'm advocating delaying it a little bit. Because you can get the Spire, and then after the Spire is started, then start Overlord speed, get Overlord speed and go look in, and then see if he has stuff. And even if he has it and Mutalisk Switch is a really bad idea, then you just get Scourge. You need it in anyway for Scourge. So, again, my initial thoughts, Bakuryu's thought this through more than I have.
Yeah, I kind of see both sides of the coin, but once again, I'm just generally more inclined to believe it's probably a good idea because Bakuryu does it, but not saying he's infallible, of course. And now we have the Citadel of Ardun happening at the natural expansion of our Protoss, so this definitely is going to be some kind of speed zealot shenanigans with the early +1 incorporated as well. Getting a little bit supply blocked, slightly late third pylon right there, but not drastically so. He is making up the second and third gateway right under the nose of that Overlord right there, so whilst that's really a little bit weird. He's taking the trouble to hide the Citadel, but then he's made the second and third gateways right slap bang in the middle of the Overlord's sight vision, so that's a little bit unusual. Of course, the second and third gateways could be more of a reactionary kind of thing to seeing what Bakuryu's kind of trying to do and trying to match him a bit more with the Hydrist. So in that situation, it doesn't need to be so secretive, but usually you see Protoss take a little bit more of a pain to hide the strategy than this.
So, are you surprised that the Zealot was able to get a couple get a drone kill?
Yes. I'm gonna say yes.
Alright. Alright.
Just for consistency, I gotta say yes.
So, Power has thrown down 2 more gateways, and he does not have a Cyber Core, and he does not have a Templar Archives. So it looks like it's going to be a very, very strong speed lot push here. He already has a good number of them out. Going to be adding more as Gateway 4 and 5 are started. And if Bakuryu goes for fast lurkers, Bakuryu's not going for
which
fast
he could
lurkers.
well do.
No, he already has a Spire on the
Oh
one.
no, he's got the Spire coming. Okay, so this is quite. This is obviously very, very standard play, but a little bit uncharacteristic for Bakuryu. I'm getting very used to seeing him go for the no Spire style. Meanwhile, the speed zealot push is now out. Bakuryu doesn't look hugely prepared against this. He has 2 sunken colonies just happening now in his natural expansion and pulling back to his third base with his links as well to make sure that that's as safe as possible. But his natural expansion is looking quite undefended here. Will he be able to get there and block those zealots before they get over there? The +1 weapons upgrade should be kicking in any second now as well. It is very, very nearly done. Will Power wait for that, or will he just go in? No, it looks like he's just going to go straight in. He might have been able to actually do some damage there if he'd have committed rather than shilly-shallying on the edge, but it looks like he's not too ready to commit until the +1 weapons upgrade comes in. Now he might actually go for the attack. No, once again pulling back, going for the third instead, but he's going to have a nasty surprise waiting for him. I can't imagine he's going to be able to take down those sunken colonies when the drones start drilling.
That's definitely a very Bakuryu, Sun Colony placement. He tucks them in just so well behind it, and now the drones are drilling back to the geyser. It's keeping the zealots off, and this is going to be a very, very nice defense Does he lose a sunken? He is probably going to lose a sunken. Nope, the Zealots are pulling back. He's not going to lose a sunken. He lost a drone.
2 or 3 drones, but yeah, nonetheless, very, very few drones. Definitely a favourable exchange for bakuryu there, and that's cost Powered quite a lot. He seemed very, very intent on doing an attack anyway, even though it wasn't necessarily the best thing, and he probably would have been better off just maintaining his zealot count and getting a 3rd base up. Pretty much anything's better than throwing your units away, as he just did. Yeah, he just seemed like he was always going to attack even if there wasn't a window. He kind of missed any possible window, and now we have the Muta Switch coming in again, once again, classic bakuryu style, to throw the Mutalisk in there. He knows that he can do some good damage with it. Power looking a little bit more prepared than previously the Sir Protesters have, but nonetheless he still looks a little bit under-defended. He has 1 Corsair, he is producing out of 1 Stargate, he has a cannon, he has a Dragoon in his main as well, so he should be able to hold on to this, but that is quite a lot of Mutalisk coming in now. bakuryu looks like he's going to try and go for the attack. He will be able to take out this first Corsair very, very easily. He's going to take down the cannon as well. Cannon's very, very short on health, of course, right from the off. All these Corsairs are going to go down, which is a little bit of a problem. You really want to keep your Corsairs alive for as long as possible in order to get a good mass, otherwise they are just useless if they're going down one by one, and these Mutas are now going to start doing some serious damage in the main base of the Sir Protoss player, and this is probably a good window for bakuryu to really get his macro up and running and get things going. But the Archon comes in and does huge damage to the Mutalisk and manages to take them pretty much all down. Only a couple left to limp home on minimal health, and Powered is able to take relatively little damage as bakuryu takes his eye off the attacking Mutalisk for just a second. That's really all he needed, and Powered right back in it there.
Yeah, that is proving that if you get an Archon, it's a pretty good defense against Mutalisks.
It is and it isn't. I mean, sort of. Archons are just so immobile compared to Mutalisks, so that often you can find the Mutalisks absolutely run rings around the Archon. But there, it shows that if you take your eye off it for a second, the Archon can do some serious damage to your Mutalisk count, as indeed it did. And Powered has managed to maintain a pretty nice economy throughout this. His probe count didn't really take too much of a hit. He did lose a little bit of stuff in his main base, but really not too much compared to the expense of this Muta Switch. And there goes the last of the Mutas, and they really did very little indeed for bakuryu's money.
I really feel Archons are good versus Mutalisks, because even if they're not getting just consistent hits off, because the Mutalisk player is managing to micro them around, they're investing a lot of APM in just keeping the Mutalisk away. Particularly good when you're playing against some dude with 146 APM. And if the Mutalisks are constantly running away from the Archons, they're not doing a whole lot of damage to the stuff in your base.
Yeah.
They'll be able to pick off a probe here and a probe there, but all you had to do was just right-click the Archon to a Mutalisk and then ignore it, really. I think Archons are a very undervalued tool in defending against Mutalisks. But that's just me. Bakuryu has his lurkers out, so he'll be setting up just a little bit of a contain here. Is Storm done? I do believe Storm is done.
I'm sure Storm is done. Well, I say that, I'm not sure, it might not be, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it will be. But Ob's timing seems to be a little bit of a thorn in a lot of Protoss players' side. I mean, I've observed this before. I don't know if I've commented on it, but the way that Protoss players often seem to work is they don't get observers until they see the first lurker, whereas with everything else in StarCraft, you will try and work preemptively, but it seems that PvZ observer timing gets a little bit left behind more often than not. It's weird.
Yep. Oh. Power trying to be fancy here. He's leading with the Corsairs to chase away one of the Overlords. Then he almost moved in with the shuttle, saw the Zergling, and then hit it. So bakuryu doesn't know about
He's
this.
seen it.
He does? He has? Oh, he has.
He must have done.
He absolutely has. I don't know how he saw it. Power was trying very carefully to make sure that it would not be seen, but
it was a good try,
unsuccessful.
But it looks like Power might actually lose all of his Corsairs. Oh, but bakuryu throwing all of his Scourge pretty much onto one Corsair, and only 2 go down instead of the full 4. But nonetheless, the shuttle will not be able to make any good progress. Ooh, and those Hydralisks might just not see the shuttle. Okay, they know the shuttle's there. He's definitely pretty intent on taking it down. That is going to be a pretty expensive loss. If that shuttle goes down, Powert is going to have a hard time recovering. All the Corsairs go down. Slightly careless micro from our Protoss player there. And now the shuttle out in open ground looks in some pretty serious danger of getting taken down by Hydrus. The Hydrus are chasing. They're not able to catch it just yet. bakuryu looks like he's had to bust himself out through his own Sim City. Meanwhile, Powert somehow manages to get this third base up and running and pretty adequately defended, at least until Dark Swarm becomes an issue. Looking around for that shuttle. Okay, the shuttle, I don't think it's been able to do anything as of yet. There are a couple of Scourge hot on its tails. It needs to actually make something happen now, or it's going to be wasted money. Will he get some good storms off? He gets one halfway decent storm off. Not really too much to shout about. And the drones are able to easily restack on those minerals and without losing too many of their numbers. And he might get a halfway decent storm off here as well, but nope. Don't think it's going to be good enough. Oh, actually managing to kill no drones whatsoever. And the Scourge now coming in, going to finish the job. And the High Templar is left to just take out some remaining Hydralisks.
Powert has managed to take a third base and get a lot of cannons up there, so bakuryu might have a little bit of difficulty getting through with just the Hydralisk trying to get up the ramp. But that contains...
Still no observers.
Does he really? Yeah, he has observers.
Okay, he finally does now.
That contain is going to be pretty strong. Very hard to see the lurkers even with the observers. And the snipes go forward, picking them off immediately. Mistake from Powert to keep two observers together like that. Very easy for bakuryu to pick them off.
This is a bad situation. Whenever you get lurker contained, players just seem to run out of ideas as soon as they get lurker contained. I think your Reavers are a strong option. Just because they're so high damage and they can really outrange those lurkers, whereas nothing else can to quite the same extent. But we can see how cost effective bakuryu can be right now. Whilst he hasn't always been in the best position in this game, especially after that pretty much failed anyway, Muta switch, he is now able to make his units count for so much more than they cost. And Powert needs to, once again, he's in that situation. He needs to break out and he needs to do it convincingly, otherwise he's not going to get a second shot. Lovely storm getting laid down on a lot of Hydralisks though. Managing to take out plenty and another beautiful storm. Powert is busting through these Hydralisk numbers pretty convincingly, and bakuryu is probably going to be forced to pull back here. There is one observer left, however. Will it be able to do enough? There are only Dragoons left. The Dragoons are starting to die, and all the Dragoons are going down. It looks like bakuryu just has the numbers and the backbone to his army to deal with this and force his power back into his natural. Now, how quickly can bakuryu reinforce that position? Will he be able to do it fast enough? If Powert breaks out now, then he could still be in a spot of bother, but if bakuryu can hold on to this contain, it's going to be game over quite quickly for our Protoss player.
And interestingly, it looks like Powert is thinking on the same way you are. He's getting the robotic support bay. Possibly for shuttle speed, but more likely it's going to be for some Reavers. And maybe he can use the Reavers to bust out. Yeah, he's getting a robo up at his 3 o'clock, excuse me, his third base. You know what? This isn't as dire as as the Lockdog game. When Lockdog was contained, he was only on 2 bases and he was almost mined out. Where Powert is mining out very quickly, he still has another base. He has a little bit more time to make something happen, but he still needs to make something happen.
I think bakuryu's tech speed is going to be quite important here. I mean, bakuryu is now making Queen's Nest, but once he gets to Hive Tech, it becomes so hard for Protoss to really compete with the Hive Tech when he's only mining off 1 base and he's got a mid-game focused army, as he will indeed have. But we can see just how slow Power's production capabilities are right now. He's got a control group maybe of Dragoons and then an extra control group of mixed units including High Templar, so if this army goes down, he's not going to be able to remake it. His resource supreme are trickling in at this point and more observer snipes going down. He's unable to prevent the observer snipes. One observer makes it through the Hydralisk fire and he needs to get some seriously good storms off now in order to hold back the Zerg onslaught, and again all his observers have gone down. His storms are decent. Oh, he still has one observer left. Will he get sniped down? Oh, just managing to survive. But then drawing all the way back and leaving his Dragoons out in the cold, but Powert may still be able to bust out.
That is an insanely risky move to transfer your probes through a lurker contain.
Oh my god.
Why did you? I don't know, he only lost 2. I don't know, I don't know what compelled him to do that. Oh, they're they're lings that have found the probes. They will be able to get to this base. The Gans will protect them, but wow. Wow, why would you do that?
That was pretty extreme. I mean, those probes like to live life right on the edge. Scourge now coming in, going to be able to get the final observer, and one lurker remaining in the contain is enough to hold back Power yet again. That top left-hand base probably shouldn't have gone up. I think that's slightly lax scouting on Bakuryu's part. He should have made sure to keep tabs on that, but I think he will be able to take it out. There are only 3 cannons holding the fort. There's one extra one coming up, but it's not going to be enough against the onslaught of Lings, which is headed towards it right now. Power transferring more and more probes there, but I don't think it's a base that's going to be lasting very long. That Reaver is not going to be popping out in time to be able to save these cannons from certain doom at the hands of all these Zerglings. The probes now coming into fight. Power knows that he needs to hang on to this base, or he is going to be pretty much down and out of this. And Bakuryu is continuing to stream out more units. There are Lings coming out en masse. Look at all those Lings outside his natural expansion. That is significantly more than a handful. There is a Reaver or 2 popping out of the top left-hand base, which is, of course, pretty hugely effective against Lings. And with some good micro, he might actually be able to beat this attack off. So impressively, Power is able to hold on to that top left-hand base. Maybe, just maybe, he can get some economic leverage back.
He did lose a lot of probes, but I don't know if losing those probes was necessary to keep the Nexus alive. It may very well have been. He does keep the Nexus alive. He does keep the Robo alive, which is as expensive as a Nexus, so that's good. And is he gonna get the Storm off? A money Storm? No. He does get a Storm, but he doesn't quite hit that huge pack of Lings he could have. Power's not in a bad position. He's 40 supply ahead of Bakuryu. He has Reavers at his bases to keep him defended. He just does not have any map control at all. Once he's able to translate that 40 supply lead into map control, I think he's going to be looking really good.
Yeah, I think you're right. The Reaver might go down to a Crackling. Oh, why are Cracklings so good at killing stuff? The Reaver does die, and that's quite a significant loss. Powers is going to be able to defend that base for a little bit longer. Bakuryu, what's his tech looking like? His evolution chambers still going at it, or one of them are anyway, but he's looking still a little bit behind. Okay, he does have an Ultras cabin, and now he has started to hatch out Ultras, and this is where it gets worrying, because we can see that Power actually, surprisingly enough, doesn't have a terrible army to deal with the late game. He has plenty of Dragoons and a few Archons in the mix as well. He just needs slightly more mass, I think, to really deal with this. And he might need a few more Reavers in the mix too. And once again, he's going to have a hard time holding on to this top left-hand base. Does he have any Reavers on hand? Will he be able to get there in time, or will the Reaver up there be enough? The cannons are all going down incredibly quickly. Cracklings are just so ridiculously good against anything that's on the ground. But the Reaver does die, and so many probes going down now as well. I think the Robo will be taken down too. Bakuryu is just going to be able to munch through this base. I would be very, very surprised if this Nexus can survive. Cracklings just take care of buildings so remarkably efficiently. Will the Nexus go down? It looks like the Nexus does go down at the absolute death, and the next step at the top left-hand corner is going to go down as well. I think that is probably going to just about do it for Power, as he's going to need some serious replenishing abilities as all these Ultra Discs pop out. He needs to be able to keep a good standing army to deal with the tech that Bakuryu is going to be throwing at him, and I don't know if he's going to be able to do that from this point on.
That's really unfortunate for Power. He was in a good position. He had a great army composition. He was able to expand, keep that expansion up, and then expand to the main there. He would have been in a really good position to come back in this game, but now, off of only one mining base, not looking very good. And Bakuryu's going to just continue to attack with Cracklings up on that base. Yeah, that's a lot of Ultralisks.
And the problem is he can just continue to stream Cracklings up to that top left-hand corner right now, and without Power having any real standing defense, he just pulled all over the map a little bit too much, and he can't focus anywhere other than on defense. He can't be where he needs to be. He can't be damaging Bakuryu at all, so Bakuryu just gets complete map control from all that aggression he's able to constantly do, and as such, it's a pretty slippery slope for Power. The engagement coming in now, he actually storms right on his own observers. Fortunately, they do just survive, but that is one hell of a lot of Ultras, and with a bit of Link support, I think they're going to be so difficult to deal with. Though Power's army is well balanced to deal with this kind of thing, it is still relatively small. 160 supply to Bakuryu's 182. He'd need a seriously good engagement to bust his way through this.
It's possible he gets a good engagement, but you're right. If this army dies, it is game over for Powards and game over for Sir. Overall, this is going to be an easy base to take out, but he's now completely surrounded. He needs to come completely into the base to try to funnel bakuryu if bakuryu is going to engage here. Oh, but bakuryu's not engaging. That army is just looming. A very South Park-esque army, i.e. no defilers. Defilers
funny enough, isn't it?
Defilers would be nice, but not needed. Bakuryu's going in with the perfect surround. This is going to be way too much damage done. The Reavers, the Archons, the Storms all do damage, but not enough damage.
My God.
Bakuryu's not even using these 5 Ultralisks.
Yeah, he has 6, 7, 8 Ultralisks sitting around doing nothing, and he doesn't even need them to pretty much end the entirety of Powart's forces. Powart had a well-balanced army, but he just got himself into a horrible, horrible rut right there, and there was no way of him keeping that army alive. Bakuryu takes that engagement by storm, and it looks like Bakuryu is going to have done the all-kill magic once again. This guy is on fire this week and last week, having come off the back of all-killing Fox. He is the one-man LRM machine, powering through teams left, right, and center. Yeah.
I do believe that Bakuryu has the best record in Gambit Cup. I'm sure Bakuryu has the best record in Gambit Cup now. I'm pretty sure second is Zeki.
GG.
And anytime you can be better than Zeki, pretty damn cool. Bakuryu, yet another 4-0 for LRM.
Yeah, and well done to Bakuryu. Very, very strong performance from him. Even in game 1, where he looked to be down and out from a very early stage, he was able to pull it back with some smart play and bested his opponent. So LRM are able to defeat Sir very, very convincingly. And what's LRM's status so far in this tournament? How are they looking?
3-0.
3-0.
Really
They're
close.
the team to beat then.
Yeah, really close one versus IFU. And then 2 all kills.
Wow, cool.
Alright. So, thank you all for watching. That's going to be the end of the cast. We casted 3 sets today. And the 4th clan war, which is China versus Fox, has already been casted. It is, oops, I need to go bring that up one more time. There we go. I want to link it in chat. So, it is in chat. Dang it. There we go. It is in chat now. There it is if you want to see, Fox versus China. Thank you to AWA for organizing. Thank you to the referee, Damon Archie. Thank you to the sponsors, Minus Eagle and Prowler. Thank you to Stratos for making some kick-ass videos. And thank you to you, Elegant, for joining me today.
It's no problem. I'm terribly sorry for being late, and thank you very much for having me on your stream once again. It has been a pleasure. And thank you everybody for watching. Thank you Grimeface for being Grimeface. Thank you everybody for arguing questions of honor and whatnot. And I'm sure we'll see you again very, very soon.
Alright. Thank you all for watching. Bye.